If you ignite me, a road ahead, a full prophecy to be the greatest beast the world has ever seen. I feed him every day like the bones clean. I feed him all the hate and he grows me. And he gets claws real big, pissed off quick. And if you cross him, you might drop dead. Metaphorically, of course, settling the sword, never getting bored, loves the blood and gore. Always wanting more freedom from the source. They don't really understand until they feel the force apart. If you start shit, you'll be heartless in the darkness. Torn apart quick, you left scars ripped, you'll be chewed up and discarded. And this world ain't right, won't accept it. Negative energy, I expect it. Once it's in your mind, it's infectious. So fight for your life and reject it. You better give me space, I'm protective. My adrenaline spikes when I'm threatened. And if you stay in my way, I'm aggressive. Cause when there's no exit, I'll kill when I'm desperate. Adrenaline pressure, it's stormy weather, lightning, thunder, pouring weather. Yo, I'm a go-getter, try to do it like me, but I do it better. I got a mind that's clever, the beast inside is competitive as ever. I'm conscious, my subconscious, an accomplice to me. I promise the darkness, I can honest believe. But don't cross me, I might lose control of the lost beast. He's locked away inside with the key control by fight or flight. And this world ain't right, won't accept it. Negative energy, I expect it. Once it's in your mind, it's infectious. So fight for your life and reject it. You better give me space, I'm protective. My adrenaline spikes when I'm threatened. And if you stay in my way, I'm aggressive. Cause when there's no exit, I'll kill when I'm desperate.
All right. Good afternoon, evening. I can adjust my fan. My name is Dark. I'll be your caster for this evening. This Division B East matchup between Protectors of Aiur and Ground Up. Quarterfinals of Season 19 NGS. Get you a little bit cut up on our map select. Oh, I did not update it. We just did the coin toss and everything. Now it should appear. We do have the bands. And we had Infernal Shines being picked by Ground Up, with Garden of Terror and Brax's Holdout being banned out by Protectors of Aiur. And we're moving into the draft, actually. Right on time. Like it. Sky Temple and Volskaya Foundry were banned out by Ground Up. We'll get going, and not surprising, we do see right away the Ragnaros ban. Imagine that's a very specific ban on Majesty. We do see then a Ariel ban. Obviously, ever since the buffs, Ariel has been more widely used and has seen an increase in the win rate. Not only in Storm League, but as well as in NGS. We do then see an Anub ban. To follow that up. Views of this. We do see a first pick Anduin. By Protector's Aiur. Now Ground Up. Gonna try to get their first two. Likely usually see DPS and healer. Alright, tank. And that we do see Hogger and Johanna being picked up. Hogger obviously probably, you could argue, best or second best map depending on, obviously if you're a Hogger player, every map's a good map for Hogger. But typically you do see Infernal Shrines and Alterac Pass being the two maps where Hogger is usually highly prioed. Get it a little bit. We do then see the white main ban. Obviously the Garrosh ban, so they very much trying to get rid of those comfort picks from Ground Up. Likely the same case for the bans from Ground Up on Protectors of Aiur. We do see the Malthael and Lucio coming through. So with the next or last two picks, still needing probably 2 DPS or another bruiser and a DPS. We've been seeing that double bruiser tank or triple bruiser line up quite a bit often more this particular season. I think I was looking at those numbers earlier, and I think compared to previous season, we've seen that line up quite a bit more than in the past. The actual matchup of these teams. We do have a Kalphas, of a Mephisto and Tychus, and then the Kalphas to round up the draft. And so again, as Rhyming, this is going to be a best of 5. So unlike usual series that go only 3 games, the potential for going up to very exciting cities, and looking forward to be able to cast this. And with that, we'll be moving over to game number 1. I'll see you shortly. Alright, welcome back. As we begin game number 1 of this quarterfinal between Protectors of Aiur and Ground Up. The number 4 and 5 teams, respectively. We'll start with their introductions. We do have E-Day on the Tychus, the Sound on the Hogger, Epileptic on Johanna, Pina Colada, Mephisto, and Sergeant Scoops on the Anduin. On the side of Ground Up, Rano on the Meriden, Nyx on the Lucio, Fangs on the Kel'Thas, Army on the Raynor, and Majesty on the Malthael. As we take my sound settings are a little bit higher. I always have this very interesting thing that my sound settings always just like change so much. There you go. As far as level 1s, does look like we have Mephisto going for the Q build. Oh. This is what I get for not streaming for about a week and a half. Everything breaks. You do see both teams take their respective camps right away. Something you do see a little bit different. Although usually means you have a fight over the bottom camp and the first blood actually goes down in the favor of Aiur, with Kel'Thas caught in the fire as well with that follow-up. I was about to say that the Hogger is going to be going that full trait build that very much was pretty much the only option ever since the changes. His other build a little bit more viable. Still not quite as used. It definitely has improved when it comes to the actual use of it. We do have our offlaners doing offlaners things with the first objective and the bottom. See if Hogger can do the spin to win. Not always easy to do, especially when there's an enemy team trying to focus you, but once you get going, this is probably the easiest of the ones right here. The middle one being a little bit more challenging, and the top is kind of hard to do. There we go, we see the spin. And we have this spin to win, and it looks like it's pretty good, and it's going to be able to secure the first Punisher for the side of Protectors of Aiur. Those are one of those things you just got to go into practice mode, right? Custom, and just practice the angles. And even with that, it's not easy. The idea is that it's a little bit different when you practice those and it's custom game or whatever it be, and no one's trying to kill you. In the chaos, a little bit more challenging, and we do see the first of the forts go down. So a very successful first Punisher for the side of Protectors of Aiur. Both teams getting back to their respective soak. Obviously, the decision would be if it's going to be last rites or not, but I don't think Maltail has any reason not to go last rites. I think it's like a very kind of niche situation. Like if everybody has a protector, they have a Medivh, and even then you can argue that picking it is still better overall. Although I've seen some of the matches from the EU tournaments use Tormented Souls, but that's like a nano boosted Maltail, which can be pretty powerful, but I imagine it's going to be last rites. We do have 10s online for Protectors of Aiur. With our Blessed Shield, Hortapult, Durance of Hate, Odin, and a Light Bomb. We do see Blessed Shield and Durance come out, able to land on the Rainer, and down goes Jimmy. With that, looks they're happy with what they got there. Could have maybe done a little bit more of a push, but I guess that would require maybe investing Odin. I imagine they don't want to use that right now and save that for the objective. We will have the top of the Bruiser camp being now cleaned up. The next of the objectives will be top lane. Did Maltail go? He went Fear the Reaper. Okay. That's when having, for example, on a dead horse, maybe get some value. We do see them trying to get a little bit of value mid. And very good play on the part of Protectors of Aiur to get a little bit more value, taking down that mid fort. We do see 10s online, as you saw Haymaker with Pyro Bomb, last rites, high five, and is that Raiders? We do see Pyro Bomb going out. It looks like, imagine that's a dead Tychus. Light Bomb does come out, and Endurance Hate on 3 members, but very low, able to get away for the least the moment being. Mephisto trying to chase down Muradin with that shade, but able to get away for the time being, and very good stun to prevent the follow-up from the Hogger. We did have a 3-for-1 exchange there in favor of Ground Up. Meanwhile, you know, the objective is up here, but maybe we should remind our teams that this is not Volskaya Foundry. You actually want to do the objective, right? And with that, we saw quite a few different ults being used. Likely, although Durance is kind of a low kind of cooldown. We do see Maltail kind of caught in a very bad position. Mephisto, did he use? Oh no, I thought he did use Shade. No, he didn't use Shade. He was kind of in a weird spot. It does go down, but we do see Lucio pay the price, and for that, Hogger able to get away for the time being. But without a healer, this is favoring Protectors of Aiur slightly, but Maltail able, or trying to stay there a little bit longer to be able to get some more of those Shrine Monkeys. We do see Hortapult with last rites connecting as Hogger was trying to spin out, but able to get enough damage to secure the kill. So at the very much you have Ground Up with 2 kind of execution ults, right? Pyro Blast is ridiculous. Ideas, it's just, you have heroes are almost pretty much full health that can die. We do see Durance being interrupted by Muradin, now Haymakering Mephisto able to shade out for the second, or the time being, I should be, but being focused and going down. They are fighting away from the point the whole time. Maltio is just competing, and now it looks like they're going to be able to secure this second of that objective for this match in favor of Ground Up. So very good job from Ground Up, able to secure the second one. Obviously, something you want to avoid in this particular map, or any map, right? Being able to lose too many of the objectives, and then obviously you fall a little bit behind. Can put you in some rough spots. You see the jump being baited out by Johanna, able to use Unstoppable to get away. We do see Durance. Oh no, it's not Durance. I thought he was using Durance. It looked like the animation, but it was just a shade. But they're able to secure the top. We do see Blessed Shield now with the cleanse on the Calvas, but still being focused, getting chunked. Mirrodin able to provide some peel with Raynor now stuck. Endurance, but another cleanse, and a very good job by Lucio, able to keep up the members of Ground Up. Unfortunately, Kalthos was already quite a bit chunked. Mirrodin trying to, at least for the time being, create space, or maybe just was in a bad place. And Aiur able to get the circle right away, get their sights set on the opposing bruiser camp. Ground Up recognizes they're coming in and very smartly moves away. Obviously, you don't want to be in a situation where you die for that. That's something you do need to fight for. You can, Malto can very much clean that up pretty easily. Now they move towards mid lane. Looks like they're going to be able to secure that mid fort. And now with both teams at level 16, so even with each one exchanging a particular Punisher, Protectors of Aiur slightly ahead of Structures with that second fort they just secured right now. And slightly ahead of Nixby. We do see the double pull from Anduin coming through. Obviously going to be very important. And Johanna, oh yeah, I didn't notice it. Johanna was able to actually complete the subdue quest. So obviously changing that to an 80% slow, practically a root, right? It's always very nice. It's not required that you get that, but once you do, it actually makes Johanna quite a bit of a better tank, in my opinion. A little less boring, at least in my opinion. We didn't see the percent heal going up, instead up the frequency from Lucio, often to try to get more of these amp it ups during fights. Obviously with the Mirrodin, pretty tanky. Maltail has pretty good self-sustain, so percentage likely not as much needed. We did see Kalthos also go Pyromaniac and Ignite, so kind of the Living Bomb, which really tests teams and their ability not to pile up together. We do see now Hogger right away tried to, I think he had to spin, but had to stop because he didn't want to spin back into the team. Was already getting chunked. And with that, they're able to push Protectors of Aiur away from the point for at least the time being. Something that's very good on the part of Ground Up is Smaltail and Kalthos, and to some extent Jimmy, right, are able to kind of hurt the opposing team at the same time as they do the objective. Anytime you have any hero who can do that, it's a huge win. We do see Last Rites being used, but it wasn't able to secure the kill. We do have Durance go out and get the Lucio and secure it. It looked like that might have been a misclick on the Pyro Bomb. It looks like it was on the Johanna, but what looked to be a very good start of the fight, at least with the positioning, ended up being a turnaround with a 4 for none switch, and we do have almost got the full spin. All right, let's go back to the. Like I said, this one's not as easy to do. I also feel like one of these corners right here sometimes has like a weird kind of thing, but with that, we do see them march right away to the keep, and so with level 20s looming, Murden trying his best to at least slow down the siege, but the Punisher's going to be full health and very much going to be able to get at least some damage, especially now with level 20s online. We do have Big Rip Button, Censure. We do have the jump with Mephisto getting chunked, and now, oh, actually it was Maltail getting chunked and going down. 2 members of Ground Up now being focused. Kalthos trying to focus, but then gets stunned by the Punisher. And with that, we do have game number 1 going to the side of Protectors of Aiur. GG. So a very strong start from Protectors of Aiur. Very much able to kind of get very good value initially. Obviously, I would say the Hogger pick was pretty important on this map, as I mentioned before. You can argue best or second best map either way. Able to secure these objectives, as well as the synergy from the Protectors of Aiur. Although Ground Up was able to get some push back as far as getting the second objective, and actually the third objective was able to get some space. The overlapping combination of abilities from Protectors able to eventually actually get a 4 for none, and with that able to secure the Punisher and then march on straight to core for the victory of game number 1. Be there with some of the stats. Look at the healing. For the most part, both teams did very well when it came to that. We do have blue team that win. And so we do have now a 1-0 lead. But again, this is a best of 5. And I think already we've had quite a few different series go all the way to game number 5. Get the talents. Didn't get to quite call it because it was at the core already, but we do have Odin, obviously Odin with the Punisher, and Mimic, as well as Hogwild, with the 14-6 advantage. While we wait for the teams, take a quick look again at the map select. For those of us just joining us, we did have, let me pull up the bands again. Guardian of Terror and Braxis Holdout, Sky Temple and Volskaya Foundry being banned out, with the first map being selected by Ground Up, going to Infernal Shrine. So another thing that's very interesting to consider is obviously with a potential of a 5-game series and 4 map bans, right? The idea is that it becomes a very limited choice towards the end, right? And so that's something also that it's very important for teams to consider, is that even though there might be some map that you may not like, you need to think about the potential of going in a 5-game series, and then the fact that you might play on a map that you don't play on quite often, and so you can potentially get rid of that during the ban. Looks like we got our second lobby. Take a quick look at the tournament bracket, and you can see that's the 4-5 Ground Up versus the Protectors of Aiur. I think we already had just one of the matches completed. I think there's at least one other one happening right before this with Hot Stads and Start Slow and Taper Off. we're playing started 30 minutes before this, so we have 2 of the matches at least going to be completed today, and I think maybe the next one, next match. So we do have Crystal Hollow being selected now again by Roundup. So we're going to be looking to go to Crystal Hollow. So taking a look back at the map pick. Going to Cursed Hollow. So obviously this is a very big map. I imagine for the most part we're going to be seeing the same type of bands. Actually, I want to be wanting to take a look at the... Usually I try to look at the notes of teams and their matchup before, but I wasn't able to do so today. And usually it's a very good predictor of potentially the type of bands and potentially the maps that you may see. Let me look at some of this regarding the previous time they've played. As usual, it's my typical last 30 seconds or minute pickup of a match. And so their last match, Protectors of Aiur did win 2-0, and they played on Infernal Shrines and Dragonshire. So we did see the same map twice. I'm trying to pull up some stats regarding Division B. Usually try to see, for the most part I know B in general, but B West more specifically, since I played in that division. I think for the most part B's very similar when it comes to heroes and such. I know overall B, for example, yeah, it's Johanna was the most popular hero with 80%, but 83% popularity with a 38% ban rate, and so either banned or picked, but only has actually a 38% win rate, even though it was banned quite often. All right, looks like both teams are ready, and we're going to be moving on to our draft for game number 2. By the way, we do see that Ragnaros ban, obviously not wanting Majesty to have Dragon on this map as well, probably pretty strong. Although based on what I know, I don't think Majesty ever takes Lava Wave, so it's not the Lava Wave they're fearing. And so again, focusing that target ban on Wano likely, with now the counter maybe banned, getting rid of that Johanna. Johanna was able to set up a bit of those combos, especially with Light Bomb with the Blessed Shield. And then now getting rid of Falstad. I think Falstad did fine last time. But obviously a global, always a high priority on this particular map. But that means that Protectors of Aiur do get Ariel. Cho'Gall? I think we've already had like one Cho'Gall match this playoff. And the counter by now taking away that Anduin into Haka, so they're able to get at least one of the globals, and I imagine that removes the potential of Protectors getting Brightwing since they already have Ariel. Haka, even though maybe a slight nerf, I guess, but I think it was just mostly to the cooldown reduction for the tongue grab. We do see Muradin and Sylvanas being picked up by protectors. And they do get rid of a noob, and then the Hogger, as I mentioned last time, Hogger would very much say, in a very non-biased way, likely the MVP. But now we see Tychus and variants, and now kind of a little bit of a flip-flopping of heroes. This time, Roundup stealing that Tychus away. The Hanzo and Blaze. Is this gonna be Dragon Noodles? Why not? Never Dragon Noodles, unfortunately. Feels bad. Global Bank secured for ground and split push enables for protectors. Yeah. Well, and there's the kind of counter split push, right, with the Nazebo. I do like the combination of Tychus with Nazebo. Tychus able to provide that early game DPS that Nazebo very much lacks. All right. With that, we'll get going to our game number 2. I'll see you shortly. All right, welcome back. As we get going with our game number 2 of this Division B East, Season 19 of NGS quarterfinal between Protectors of Aiur and Ground Up. We'll start with our introductions here on Curse of Hollow. Sergeant Scoops on the Ariel, Eclectic on the Muradin, Pina Colada on the Sylvanas, E-Day on the Hanzo, and the Sound on the... I'm blanking on the name. Blaze. On the side of Ground Up, we have Majesty. You know, there's so many new heroes that are introduced in Heroes of the Storm. I forget their names sometimes. Dahaka being played by Majesty, Fangs on the Tychus, Army on the Nazebo, and Nyx playing the Anduin. And Rano got sent off to being an offlaner until level 4. The team said, go away from us, come back when you're a real boy, or a real man, right? A real tank. We did see Sylvanas start that push bottom. So obviously, I'm surprised we didn't see kind of like the cheeky kind of attempt of doing anything. Obviously, a little bit hard. I mean, they could have made the case to make a push, right? They don't really have a real tank. I mean, Dahaka is the pseudo tank for now. Can do plenty, but I think they could have got some value. We do see both teams opting to get some of their camps with Bruiser camp being picked up by ground up. And siege camp being picked up by Projectors of Aiur. Varian hanging out mid. Contemplating if he should go Twin Blades. Right? That's what happens in your typical game. You have a Varian, and you think you had a taunt Varian, but it's Wind Blades Varian. Take a look at our level 1s. Do you see Tyka's going to be going grenade build? Obviously very standard. Something I always tell people, Tyka's has actually very diverse type of builds, and I know Q build, a grenade build is kind of the more kind of standard, but Tyka is actually quite flexible to fit a few different situations. We do see our protectors getting some value with that camp top, and the Zebo able to probably stop too much. They're able to get quite a bit, over half. However, with that siege mid, they kind of countered a little bit of that. Got some value as well. Although, with that bottom camp being picked up in a pretty good timing, it's going to require Hanzo to either stay here and clear it. Dahaka obviously can be able to escort it. Although that mid now counter push from the side of protectors is coming through. And it's a taunt Varian. Never Twin Blades. Never Twin Blades, unfortunately. We do now the first objective being top in the neutral side. But however, it doesn't look like they're gonna be able to contest this at all. Nazebo was a little bit low in mana. Sylvana's now able to use Trait to try to get some value, and not quite. Almost gets it down to about 130 XP. So that's okay. We see both teams getting back to that kind of soak. Anduin and Varian in the bush, trying to look for an unsuspecting prey. Although Nazebo's getting a little bit bullied at top lane. Zebo is going full spider build. Dahaka did go Lurker Strain. Kind of have your yeah, it is a W build Hanzo, so that's gonna be useful for clear, especially for boss ticks. But again, the question is gonna be Dragon Noodles or not. Again top lane, but now this time favoring. We do have the taunt coming out into the Murden. Sylvana's a little bit aggressive, able to get some damage into the Tigers, but with the tongue landing on the Blaze and able to secure the first kill and follow up with the Murden. Varian, a little bit of damage going through, but Dahaka, the thing is, Dahaka is the real tank right now, right? Dahaka did go, yeah, race build. We see the Feeding Frenzy. Every death now reduces the cooldown 0.25, right? A little bit of a nerf. I think I'm fine with that. It was kind of ridiculous with the Dahaka where, you know, you tongue 3 auto attacks, it's back up, tongue 3 auto attacks back in it. You know, you can, you know, pretty much perma stun some people. Obviously, it wasn't that bad, but it kind of felt like that. So I'm kind of fine with that nerf. What I'm not fine is with the nerf they did to Blaze, where the double kind of Q no longer can do siege damage. That was big sad. Very good job of prepping that top camp. Waiting until the last second. We do have level 10s slightly ahead in favor of ground up. We're trying to get this bruiser camp out as fast as possible, and they go right away for that boss take. And so again, that geometry build, Hanzo. They're gonna make relatively quick work of this. So I do like this particular call. They did have level 10s, but they're gonna get a little bit of XP. 10s online now. We do have Odin with a taunt going through on the Oh, the arrow, the NA arrow, right? Feels bad. We have Odin, Warbringer, Gargantuan, Light Bomb, and Isolation. We do have the Sun follow up with a pull on the Hawk. Isolation goes on the Blaze now with Light Bomb coming out. Very good peel by the 5 members. Everybody in the bunker. We do see Dahaka go down, and with that, Varian. Who is that card in Hearthstone? The Grim, right? I forget the name of the Grim. The one that says, "Everybody get in here." Dark Iron something. Oh god, I haven't played Hearthstone in such a long time. It's like Dark Iron Brewmaster, something like that. With that, they were able to secure the second of the tributes, and they're in a very good position. They've been pretty fortunate with these kind of positioning. It's going to be now on the bottom side, favoring their own. They do get to getting that boozer cap. As far as level 10s for protectors, we do have Avatar Bunker, Mind Control, NA Arrow, right, and Crystal Aegis. We have Arrow come out, land on the Variant, follow-up stun. The pull from Anduin, able to save the Variant for the time being. Bunker does come out. Now, they're fighting under the Gargantuan, and Muradin does go down. And with that, Dahaka go away. The Blaze trying to get a stun out, but likely going to be taunted and tongued. And with that, they're going to be able to secure 2 kills. And with that, the next tribute, Dahaka moves right away to try to clear the mid lane bruiser. Looking at the quest, earn a Zebo. Just those are XP. They're pretty good. That Dahaka, obviously. Oh no, Blaze is doing just fine. I think we're all the positioning as well. But where's our Nazebo at? Yeah, 91. So obviously that's like the soft rage encounter. We do see them trying to start the top boss, and recognizing that potentially we're doing that, protectors do move in, able to dissuade them from continuing that further. A little bit of a risky move, but they have 13, so they actually, if you're, oh, the Nazebo in a weird spot, but there's no follow-up for that. I mean, you have 13s, you want to secure this while you can. If you're protectors, you're trying to stall as much as possible until you get those 13s. You're just a couple waves away from that, so I mean, we see a little bit of dancing around happening. They are trying to get rid of that top siege camp. It does go down now. The stun on the end with a double arrow. It lands 3 on the members, but it wasn't a follow by Blaze. Mind Control lands on the Dahaka, but Muradin caught in the middle of the Gargantuan. A very good tongue by the Anduin, going for it. Self-light bomb, able to get the stun on the Euro. Now we're having to chase down LeBron James. Anduin on the... Oh, no. Orio's going to be able to get away with at least... Oh. But I think it was like AoE damage from the Anduin, able to secure the kill. And so does Hanzo. And with that, right away, they're focusing, opting to pass on that top 4, realizing we could just get some value while we're here. Let the waves take down the top keep. Or top 4, I should say. Focusing on the top keep. We do have the stun on the Blaze, and very good follow-up tongue as well. Nice whipping. Stunned by the Muradin to, for the time being at least, prevent any further deaths. Obviously, this is one of the maps where a couple deaths and you know, the death timer is still relatively short, so it would have been really difficult to do kind of end. They would have needed like a boss for that to happen. Your team never gets in the bunker. team needs to have the bunker download, the bunker expansion pack in order to be able to get in the bunker. And with that, they do go take their own, and now we do have 6 scenes online for ground up. So very much a different. Well, all the while we did see very good part on protectors recognizing that likely ground up was doing their boss, and with a Hanzo and a Sylvanas able to make quick work. We do have a Q build, Murd at least for the level 4, which does, you know, that 350% damage to non-heroic units, which is very nice for, you know, helping with taking bosses. I would say the Valley is probably a little bit better for Aiur, because they're able to free clear this. I imagine that this is going to do little to no damage at all. Yeah, it's going to be do no damage. So Ground Up got XP, but they were also able to clear before any damage was done. With that, they do set their sights on the siege camp. And with still about half a level behind, if you're ground up, you want to be forcing this advantage. I don't know if you're protectors, you're just happy that you can just safely soak top and such. I guess it would have been pretty close. We do see now the next of the tributes will be on the top right side of the map, favoring ground up. As far as position, we do see that protectors of Aiur are trying to clear that top or escort that top siege camp a little bit, but with that likely going to be moving back out. It looks like they're not going to try to contest at all. They might try to delay, maybe with the Hanzo. Murden's just hanging out. They're opting not. I mean, you don't have to. If you're protectors, you don't have to force this at all. They're not capping it quite yet. It's interesting. Are they just trying to delay so that they get closer to 20? Is that the thought? Because they're not capping. Okay, it looks like they're saying, hey, we don't have to cap this because in the end we're just going to be fighting at the same talents. We do see the Micro go out, land on the Taikas, but then able to walk away safely for the time being. No follow-ups. The teams are not capping it, and so I mean, I understand. I mean, there is no reason for them having to do it. I mean, it looks like they're trying to play on that advantage and bait them in. But very smartly, also something you have to be mindful of is, you know, they're recognizing they're just not going to cap it. They can go soak lanes and try and close that XP gap. We're still having about a level behind or so. We do have 17s online. We do see, obviously, very big for Sylvanas getting that Will of the Forsaken. I think very much and there's quite a few different 16s and such that are pretty big, but I think this is probably one of the biggest, especially for Sylvanas, especially if you go double E. Being able to use that very much enables Sylvanas to do quite a bit of damage as well as dive opposing teams. We do see members of Ground Up now opting to go to bottom to see if they can see anything going on. Yeah, so like I said before, Clay, a very good point. If they're laying it right enough, it'll be around level 20. And so it looks like that's what they're trying to do. And it looks, I mean, I understand it. They're trying not to lose that. But the longer you wait, then, you know, they're gonna be level 20. But if you're then ground up, and you see the Protectors of Aiur just kind of hang out back. I mean, you have a Tychus. You can siege, you know, mid and bot if you want. We see the bosses. Boss is about to come up, so actually that's pretty big. We have already top boss available. So if you are now ground up, you're just about a wave or so away from getting 20. We do see the Bruiser camp able to be picked up safely, at least for the time, for the side of Protectors. And now we see kind of a very interesting strategy with both teams just playing it really slow. Although playing it really slow now kind of favors. So we do see the bottom boss going to quickly be melted. I think they recognize that they're probably doing boss. They rotate up. They're probably going to be at about a couple waves behind. They're going to be in a pretty good spot by the time. I mean, there's 10 seconds for ground up to get there. They're going to stop to deal with that a little bit. We do see Tavana's not trying to get it. And Dahaka Bird kind of ahead. And a little bit of a risky move. I've been there before as a Dahaka where I kind of go, I'm going to go up here and dig. And then you realize that you're around 5 members of the opposing team and no one is around you. We do have 20s about to be online for. We do very good tongue by the Dahaka Aegis and the isolation now being used. Dahaka being a 5-person stun. Very good job to be able to be peeled for the murder for the time being. We do now see that with that now a curse again, but now with the boss bottom. So that plan of delaying it a little bit too long might have backfired a bit. I thought Protector should have taken advantage of the fact that they were on the same talent level and just, you know, we have to win a fight. We do see the charge falling at the root on the Blaze, uses bunker. But with that, it's going to be a little bit too much with the boss. And game number 1 going over to the side of ground up. GG's. And just like that, we have a tied series. Take a quick look at the stats. Anzo with that geometry build, able to do top damage. Kind of really, oh, and something kind of the opposite of last game when it comes to kind of damage and the statistics. A 9-1 this time in favor of ground up. Only 1 kill secured by the side of Protectors of Aiur. Let's look at some of the healing. For the most part, Ario and Anduin. There wasn't a lot of fighting, so this was like a look at the numbers. It was a little bit low, but there was, if you saw that, about 5 minutes of just waiting for level 20. I will say I think Protectors should have taken advantage of the fact that they were even Talons and they had a 2-0 tribute advantage, and I'm not quite sure why they didn't. I mean, either try to push another lane or they weren't really pushed too far when it comes to their lanes. They actually had a slight advantage, or it was at least neutral, I think. So very interesting as far as the decision making not to kind of try to force that fight before 20s. But obviously, the great thing is that this is a 5-game series, and so you have a game you lost, you have quite a few different more opportunities to ensure that you're gonna be able to win. So I've updated our information for those of us just joining us. Let me switch over to our map view. Take a look at the picks and such. So now, again, we have a best of 5 series potentially, or it is a best of 5 series, but potentially going to 5 games. And so with that, we again have Guardian of Terror, Braxis Holdout, Sky Temple, and Volskaya being banned out, with Infernal Shrines and Curse to Hollow being selected. So the map pool is now dwindling. So we at least will game to a game 4. And actually, with that, while I'm waiting for the next map to be selected, I'm going to switch to this one. Yeah, there you go. I'm gonna take a quick break to get some water. Be right back. All right, we're back, and it looks like we're going to be going to Towers of Doom. Both teams are in lobbies, and it looks like we're going to get started. All right. Towers. With that, let's move into our game number 3 draft. I imagine we're gonna get the very same type of bands. A Garrosh band and a Ragnaros band. And then we'll probably see a Johanna band and maybe a Sylvanas band. Or Anduin band. Falstad, yeah. So that makes sense. Get rid of another. So kind of put them in that situation. Do you want to take that Brightwing? Or do you want to take the Ariel? And they're gonna take the Dahaka instead, and so it seems to be now a theme of this particular series is the best way to prevent them to get that right is just take it away. So we're seeing already quite a few swaps in both games, and in game number 3 start off with another swap of Dahaka now going to the side of Protectors of Aiur. But we do see Anduin and Baron go through. They were able to work together in cohesion with the taunt, the tongue from the Dahaka, the root, the light bomb. Quite a bit of trained CC, which actually led to Blaze and Murden not able to be moved. We do see the Aiur coming through again, but this time the Tychus is picked up on the side from Protectors. They said, hey, we want that Tychus back. It worked for us on game number 1, so we do want it back. We do see that noob ban still go through. I guess Anubis is pretty good first counter. Just cocoon the Varian. Just cocoon anybody. And you win, right? Kalthos. Obviously, Kalthos able to provide some of that follow-up CC for the Anduin and the Varian. Although I would say it's not probably the best on this map. I myself not a big fan of Kalthos on this map. And with that, we do have Greymane and Malthael, so some very high damage potential from the side of, or burst damage potential at least. I imagine Malthael's going to be going last rites again for that execute. Although it's not going to be very effective against a Dahaka, especially if the Dahaka is smart and saves his dig specifically for that. We do have a hammer and a Murden. Let's go. Protectors of Aiur opting to have 2 tanks. Everybody's welcome to leave the stream at this point. Final pick. Gaslow. And there's that double bruiser lineup that I mentioned that has been a lot more popular in this season of NGS. But overall, I think pretty solid. The question is going to be, how do you get to that hammer? Varian usually does not have a very good time or easy time getting to that hammer. And so having to work around making plays with the hammer, depending on the build that hammer goes. But I know that it can be very challenging for that Varian to initiate those engages. But with that, we'll see you shortly in game number 3. All right, welcome back for Game 3 of this Division B East matchup between Protectors of Aiur and Ground Up. Season 19 of NGS quarterfinals. Best of 5. We'll start with introduction of the blue team, Protectors of Aiur. We do have Iplictic on the Muradin, the Sound on the Dahaka, Sergeant Scoops on the Oriole, E-Day on Sergeant Hammer, and Pina Colada on the Tychus. On the side of Ground Up, we have Nyx on the Anduin, Army on the Gaslow, Fangs on the Greymane, Majesty on the Maltail, and Rano on the Varian. But so not only does Protectors have 2 tanks, they also have 2 sergeants. Oh, I'm gonna roll today. It's a very long. Everybody's like, hopefully this matchup ends quickly. The suffering, tormented souls. As I mentioned before, let's look at our level 1s. It looks like we have the standard E talent for the Muradin. Grenade build again for the Tychus. We do have now on a Pale Horse. We do have the Invade coming through, but even with the Dahaka, oh no, it wasn't Dahaka, it was Greymane. That was Dahaka. I forgot they have Dahaka. They're able to invade early on, especially with a Varian and a Dahaka, obviously, so they can kind of go in there and dictate the pace early. So that's a big challenge when it comes to Varian. It's very rough to do things before 4. And so something to keep an eye on if you are Ground Up is obviously where is that Dahaka is dig or has been used or not. And again, no Twin Blade Varian. Day 2. We do have healing. Not unstoppable. I guess they don't really need an unstoppable. We have the taunt going through on the Tychus, but not much follow-up at this point. We do have the first of the objective spawning teams fighting down, and the CC on the Tychus is able to secure their first kill, and with that, they're able to back off. Dahaka is not digging. They may not have dig available. Let's see. Do they have dig available? They do not. Oops. There you go. Everybody. I want everybody to see you. But I did mention before the initial death or invade. We do see on a Pale Horse, obviously that's going to help Maltail rotate a little bit faster. I still think that's the better kind of ability, even no matter the map. For example, they didn't take it on Infernal Shrines. We do now have the rotation on the Maltail, trying to get away. The stun prevents probably that Q initially, and they do secure the gank on the Maltail, caught in the Storm's jaws. All the while, we do see that Greymane trying to get some value bot, Anduin able to get the pull, but the Hawk are able to prevent Varian for getting away for at least the time being with the tongue. And now we do have and this is going to be the big challenge for Ground Up. How do you deal with that hammer now, especially without a Varian? And this looks like very much Ground Up is playing for late game. Protectors of Aiur a lot stronger earlier, obviously. We do have Dahaka trying to keep up with that soak. Maltios moving bot. Looks like they might be able to just, at least for the time being. We do have the stun follow-up on the Muradin with a follow-through, and do actually get the kill on the Muradin. And that's very much the play, especially since it's going to be difficult to get the hammer, but probably easier to get anybody else. So as long as you don't necessarily have to fight under the hammer's range. So if you just blow up the Muradin, right, you can win quite a few of these fights. Both teams right about to hit level 10. We did have hover from hammer, so that helps a lot with trying to avoid some of the CC. Oh, and I just realized I didn't start my prediction. I usually do it. I'm usually very good on it. Here, I'll give you the predictions for those who were actually... I'll make it a little bit shorter. Oh, while I do a prediction, we do have level 10s that come online. I was so busy making the prediction. We did have Gaza go down. We did have Go for the Throat, Warbringer, Last Rites, Grab a Bomb, and Light Bomb. Baron going down at the end there. We have Avatar Oscillation. And this is how we see a Draken Laser Drill, Blunt Force Gun, and Crystal Aegis. Making sure that the predictions available is a lot more important than covering the match. But with that, they're able to now move on to bottom fort. I'm going to be able to secure that. The next of the tributes are Tob. Looks like they're trying to exchange. And Gazzo not able to get there quite in time to interrupt.
You have done well, heroes. Let the Gravekeeper know my power. Your powers within my grave, like all the others. I will not return.
And this is where this becomes very challenging. The extended range from the Gazzo can land a stun, but it's still relatively difficult. Varian looks like they're trying to see if they can get any stun taunt going through on the Muradin. Great Crystal Aegis does save the Muradin for the time being, and in consequence, Grayman goes down. I'm curious if they not have like a Junkrat player, a Chromie player, because Chromie was free, right? Hammer was picked. Ground Up did have the ability to kind of counter that hammer, and Junkrat and Chromie were available. Yeah, like having a Chromie here would have been pretty significant. We do now have members of Ground Up getting relatively low. Gravel Bomb does go out, lands on 2 with a follow-up. Stun. Varian gets it on 2, but all the members... Oh, everybody's so low. And they're all forced to back. We do at least have only a 1 tribute. Even with that, they're still relatively close. It was 25 to 24 as far as the tower shots. Now it's down to 19. I mean, if you're Ground Up, you might just want to send your Gaslow mid or something, right? To try to get some siege mid or siege top and force that rotation, because this is kind of rough. Especially with an Oreo. I think it's just Oreo and Muradin. They just don't quite have the tools. I say that as... Baron's still taking damage. We do have the stun land on the... We do have the stun on the hammer. It does go down. And just as I say, they don't have the tools. Grayman able to show that they do have the tools, but it's quite expensive, right? Quite a few ults came out there. But even with that, they're still not quite able to get that bottom fort. Protectors about a level ahead, so they're going to get to 16 first. Maltail opting to keep up that soak. And again, that's a big challenge with Maltail, is although he's able to keep up a pretty good soak, the idea is that Haka able to make every matchup a 4v5 instantly. They're about to be able... Oh, Gaslow now getting some tower damage and will barely survive. Use Gravel Bomb there, but
The time is now.
didn't achieve much.
Claim the altars.
We do have Gaslow trying to delay. We'll be a little bit too late to do so.
This realm
We do have right away trying to get their own sappers, but now they recognize that they're split with the 5-man coming through. Now we do have a 4v5 bottom, but this time Ground Up able to walk away. Dark Sea Pepe. I haven't seen that in a while.
I have opened a
That's when I played in
the battleground.
Atlas.
Use it well.
We do see the light bomb combo coming through, and Anduin does go down, unfortunately. Again, it was a 4v5 variant trying to sneak away, but likely going to be focused through Maltail's trying to provide some sort of support. Greymane going in. And we do have 3 members now, with the Gaslow being silenced, likely going to be focused down. And now we have Maltail in a very bad spot, able to barely get away. And now, unfortunately, we're at that spot where, although they don't have 0, they're starting to run out of core points with only 11, and after this, it's going to be, what, 6?
Activate them now.
6 to 21 it's going to be. And now we have to start thinking about these camps, potentially boss, which has 4.
Know my power.
Yeah, you don't see Tychus pick a drill too much. Usually on this map, I think is one of the more common ones. This map, probably the most common one. And it makes sense because there's people fighting over, you know, the tribute and such, while people try to destroy the drill. You can, you know, focus them. So it's a pretty good map for it. We do have the taunt with Age just coming out right away, able to save the Tychus, at least for the time being. Gravel Bomb does come back out, Abe trying to get that Murden, but able to get away. And again, the Gaslow now with drill coming out again, and that's going to be 2, 3 Selpers are going to be able to go through. And yep, 3 more go through, and only 3 core health points left for Ground Up. So at this point now, boss is the win condition, and are they going to go for it? Yeah, I mean, Maltail gotta be careful, able to use self-cleanse to get away. It looks like they are going for the boss. GG has been called, but we've seen these psychological GGs been called all before, right? We do see Greymane go down, and with that, likely just gonna be very difficult for them to do anything. We do have Last Rites. See, this is where Tormented Souls would have been better, right? But they do opt to just get away. I mean, they don't have to fight this and lose. The Hawk can just dig bottom, and that's exactly what happened. And then with that, we do have game number 1 or 3. 1, 3 go to the side of Protectors of Aiur. So with that, what we've been seeing is both teams take turns just kind of showcasing their pretty much kind of strategy. Now again being flipped from last time where we saw a 9-1 kill favor on the side of the ground up, and before that it was a 19-6 I believe, so in favor of Protectors of Aiur, and this time again 13-3. And so very much it's one of those situations where you just kind of say we got outdrafted, and you know, just think about it. I will say I think it very much, they had last pick. Yeah, they had last pick. So I'm curious if they did not have a Chromie player. Chromie wasn't banned, was it? No, it wasn't. Neither was Junkrat. So that's one of those things where is it just not a comfort pick or not able to play that. You know, even Hanzo could have been picked up. A Deathwing could have been picked. There's a few heroes you can play that very much not either counter or kind of, oops, switch to screen. I clicked on the invite. Rano baited me. This is why, again, I was talking about the game. I got baited to click. It looks like we're going to Dragonshire, which is fine. But I very much believe they had the opportunity to counter the hammer. But again, we saw there it was very difficult for Ground Up to do anything into that hammer. But like I said, it's one of those you just say, we get outdrafted there, and we just learn and move on. But we do have the 2-1 series lead for the side of Protectors of Aiur, so we're gonna see. We picked it. So Dragonshire. They did play on this map last time, and during the regular season. So this time it was picked by there you go. This time the map was picked by Protectors of Aiur. This will be the first map they picked this series. But like I said, it just seems that Ground Up did have the opportunity to kind of counter that pick from the hammer pick from the side of Protectors of Aiur, but let's see if we can do. See if Protectors of Aiur say we'll just run it back and run hammer again. Right, let's see. Look at the last time they played on this particular map. Maybe for a preview, we did have very similar picks, but was it picked last time? Yeah. So last time they played during the regular season, this map was also picked by Protectors of Aiur, so it seems to be a map that they very much enjoy. See if there's any updates from the It's 11 p.m. Eastern. Do you know where your HOTS friends are? They're probably playing a 5-game series for NGS. And well, I think we have a few doing a bit of a bio break, so take a second. I'll be right back. Remember, as soon as I'm about to get up to get some water, they say that here we go. All right. So with that, we'll move into our draft for game number 4 on Dragonshire. Looking at some of the scouting from last time, we do see the band this time for Johanna right away. So I imagine it's gonna be Johanna, Ragnaros. This is gonna be Ariel or Anduin. No, Falstad. What am I doing? It was Falstad. It's been Falstad the last 3, and then this one's gonna be Garrosh. I think my prediction should be now. What are going to be the bands? So that way everybody wins. Do you see Tychus now? So Tychus is going back and forth between teams. So the idea is that Tychus has been 100% so far in the series, right? The team that has Tychus has won. And keeping with that same theme that we've mentioned, the teams kind of stealing picks from each other back and forth. Now we have the Varian and the Anduin on the side of Protectors of Aiur. I'm gonna start my prediction early this time. Oops. Messed up. Oh, I want to be 5 minutes. There you go. Now we have the Oreo and the Anub. They were banning out the Anub with the last pick. I imagine this, and then now they're gonna have Ariel. We do see now the Maltail being banned out. Maltail's probably a little bit better here, better of a duelist. Oh, the standings and rankings I can show you real quickly. If you go to the /NGS website, pop up. Did I kill my bot? Rip. Can post that for you. I'm not doing it like you used to. There you go. Voting for game 5, great. Now we see Greymane coming out, so in Calpha, so we see teams kind of taking each other's picks. Imperius now coming out. Last pick being a Nazebo. With that final pick, I imagine that's going to be the offlaner. And we get a Urel. Big fan of it. Obviously, if you're a fan of HEC or any of the pro play, you've seen Hazo ups on Urel. Especially on Dragonshire. Some very good play. With that, we're going to be moving on to our game number 4. See you shortly. All right, welcome back for our game number 4 on Dragonshire. Protectors of Aiur looking to take the game, and with that, the series in this best of 5. Whereas Roundup trying to win to play for the final game to win the series. We'll start with our introductions. We have Pina Colada on the Kel'Thas, Sergeant Scoops on the Anduin, Ide on the Greymane, the Sound on the Urel, and Eclectic on the Varian. On the side of Ground Up, we have Rano on the Anub, Nyx on the Oriole, Army on the Zebo, Majesty on the Imperius, and Fangs on the Tychus. Ooh, there you go. Camera scenes. Let's take a look at our level 1s. After our usual mid row handshake, hugs. We do have Vario going kind of the Dauntless, grenade build, spider build. Actually, something's very interesting. The reach talent from Nazebo actually has the highest run rate right now. We do see the early invade, a noob going in, but getting low and blows up. And will be the first kill, first blood in favor of Protectors of Aiur. So a little bit of an ambitious invade. Obviously, they didn't have quote variant, but I think the arrow was there. Yeah, so very good job on the part of Protectors. And they figured, hey, we're gonna get some free damage on these towers, and very likely they're gonna be going down. So something Protectors of Aiur have been doing a good job is getting value on structures when they can. We do have 4 being picked up, and again, no twin blades variant. Game 3 of asking me, oh, they passed right in front of that variant. Imperius. One thing that's going to be a challenge for Imperius is trying to get that soak at least before level 7. At that point, you get quite a bit more of kind of AoE. I do like this decision by Protectors to take that top bruiser camp to kind of help push top, put Imperius in a very rough spot of trying to kind of soak and get the point and clear camp. Before 7, it's very very difficult. We do see the taunt on the new, but not much of a threat right now. We do see Tychus going mid. It looks like Tychus is going to go top to try and get some help. Wait, did he see the URL? No, they didn't see each other. Interesting. It just passed by. Do we saw the taunt with the follow-up on the Uriel? The Oriole, God. We have Oriole and Uriel. Getting this kill on that Oriole. Although that means using two abilities usually means Kel'Thas, at least at this point, even with that, or before the Mana Addict is completed, means that you're not going to have any mana. I do like this positioning by Projectors, trying to see if they can bait out that Tychus to get up there and get taunted. A noob trying to ward and provide some vision. We do see now Nazebo having to be a little bit careful. And so, like I said, it's gonna be, well, now we have Holy Fervor, so it's not gonna be so difficult for, oh, the Uriel was a little bit of trouble, able to scoot away. We do have the Divine Steed Instant Mount, which is a very nice talent. I think as far as like being an offlaner and soaking and such, it's one of those talents. It's very, very nice. It's kind of obviously like an Anapel horse, but on steroids. Because you can instantly mount. Helps with peeling, or not being ganked, I should say. Naz using all his mana, yeah. I did Naz go... Oh, he didn't go Blood Ritual. Yeah, I guess it's a little bit different and competitive. Obviously in Storm Lake and such, you can't really to always depend on your teammates if you're in solo queue. I just kind of like this Blood Ritual to get a little bit more of that self-sustain when it comes to mana and such. We do see both teams fighting over the bottom. At this point, Uriel doesn't really win, but we do have see we're now rotating bottom. And Nas, the ping's coming out, will be going down to that living bomb, and the noob also Uriel whiffs the hammer. We've seen Imperius pretty much just stay top. I mean, I think Imperius has to rotate mid to get some of that soak, because it's doing a little bit of structure damage, but they need to keep up with that soak. They're both level talents now, so we do have Shield Wall. This is like in the first time we've seen Shield Wall in this series. We do have Ardent Defender, Phoenix, Cursed Bullet. And we see what, like, I think anyone's waiting, I believe. We do see Phoenix go out. We do have Cocoon, Odin, Gargantuan, and Aegis. Anduin did pick Light Bomb. And we see that Imperius is kind of waiting. Oh, of course. Nothing happens until I move away from into the action. Of course. Full spiders is weird. I mean, I think it has its place. Like I said, I think having that self-sustain is very good. We do have Mana Addict being completed by the Kel'Thas, trying to move mid to get that channel, but bottom was taken. We have Majesty in danger, will be going down, and pays the price for trying to solve that objective. We do have Odin now being popped to just try to get some structure damage. Probably not a bad idea, but however, you do have a few members of your team still fighting. But the thing we do have to again keep in mind is that I guess they're evenly. Hey, Gary was, that must have been a misclick, right? I don't think you. don't think you want to use Gary here, right? Especially leave him alone. Oh, there you go. We have a fight. Cocoon does go out. Aegis on the Tychus. We do have a noob, though, in a little bit of a rough spot. Able to get away for the time being. And those spiders did quite a bit of damage to the Urel. I mean, that was not a bad. We did have Imperius topped the whole time. Let's look at our quest. And we do have 82 stacks in Nazeebo, so that's obviously the good soft enrage, or soft, right? Once Nazeebo gets Foul Infection and completes the quest, Nazeebo is one of the more ridiculous heroes when it comes to damage at that point. We do have Nazeebo a little bit out of place and does get the follow-up and gets blown up. Like I said, trying to secure the bottom. But obviously, they're going to be forced to back off. You see this fight here. It's not. I mean, Imperius typically wins this, but a good stun there. We have the team members trying to get in position, and we have the Cocoon coming out. Oh no! And the taunt and follow up, a good Aegis, but the follow up, the light bomb gets the Oriole. Cocoon going on the gray main. Urel trying to dive in, uses the ult to not die to tower damage. Both teams going back and forth, so we still haven't had one channel, right? Yeah. It's gonna be one of those matches where we're gonna get to minute 25. Oh, we do have a noob. Go down. We did have Curse of Bullet, so Curse of Bullet, that's what I thought too. Last match with Greymane, the win would go for the throat, and I thought it should have been Curse of Bullet to help kind of secure the kill on the Meriden. We have the Urel trying to hold the point, but during that time, Protectors of Aiur are able to secure the first dragon of this matchup. Right away goes mid. Nazeebo in a little bit of trouble, gets chunked by Cursed Bullet, but it looks like they're going to be able to secure that bottom fort. They got about mid, halfway of mid, but that's probably going to go down as well. They're able to save it for the time being, but likely to go down. We do have Gary coming out. They do have that top. I was already mentioned it. We do have offlaners doing offlaners things, right? Just dueling while the team just actually plays the match. With that, like, you know, you can press D to get out of that dragon. You don't have to wait for the timer. I'm just kidding. They're probably just delaying it. Often you see teams delay, you know, holding on to the objective just to delay the timer. Obviously, if you are protectors, you want to push this so that you're about to be 20. If you're ground up, you're in a spot where you're about a level behind. We do see alts go out. Not bad. What I will say, we've seen Urel done a good job kind of rotate down and create 4v5s, and either because of having to soak or not able to clear. Imperius hasn't been able to do that. We do see now Urel rotating down again, creating a 4v5. Yeah, and a good cocoon by the noob, able to... Oh, Mazzy was in a very bad spot. Does Jiro have the whip? They're spreading the bomb. Stop spreading the bomb. Oh, good crate crystal just, but no. Wait, did he ruin it with the ice? Yeah, he ice blocked right after, and I think that could have messed up the heal. He probably... Mazzy would probably, you know, gone down still, but...
Within the shrines, seize them, and become the new Dragon Knight.
Looks like they're trying to focus mid. Mid is now gone, and so now if you ground up in a kind of a rough spot with having no structures mid and bot. Protectors now opting to take that bottom bruiser camp. Put some of that pressure now towards that bottom keep.
A Dragon Knight, but will it be you?
And with about a 2-level lead, yeah, if you're ground up, you need to start, you know, trying to do something so that you can close that gap. We do see Gary being used. Doesn't do much. We do have Odin now being popped. Trying to help slow down that siege by protectors level 20s online. We do have Seraphim, Glory of the Alliance, Flamethrower, Hunter's Blunderbuss, and Varian's Legacy. A DPS. Oh, very nice. Aegis again. The Aureo has been really good with the Aegis. Both Aureos actually. Both healers have done a good job with those Aegis saving combos. We do have now the cocoon on the Greymane, but let's see if they're trying to get that combo. I do like that play by Kael'thas to kind of put a flamethrower on top of that, saying, hey, if you're gonna go in, you're gonna hurt. We do see now Imperius still trying to duel that Uriel top. It looks like they're gonna be able to stop it. It might be closed now. Yeah, they were able just in time to secure the bottom of the tributes. Or shrines, I should say. Oh no, if you're Imperius, now you're in a rough spot. Okay, able to get away for the time being. I mean, they're level 20s. You don't want to really fight this, but again, you're not really in a very dangerous spot just yet. Still about 16 minutes. However, let's take a look at our 151. So Naz is very much on schedule to pretty much have Vow Infection completed at level 20. If they take that, right? There is always the if. It's not more of a if, right? It's a when. I think, yeah, if you're ground up, you just want to stall this as much as possible and not actually get into any fights. Uh-oh. You better run. Oh, he does get slowed. He's gonna be able to, for the time being, use the spear to get out. And again, Aureo, very good job, able to... Oh, didn't quite full cap it a little bit. That time it's always kind of weird. I mean, that's good enough. It provides enough of a delay. And that they have to go down there to actually cap it. So that's all you really need. And you're just about one wave from being able to get level 20s. And so... And I think we've seen this now, right? In 2 matches where both teams have kind of done a good job of trying to delay the match a little bit longer to try to get themselves 20s. But I guess they're saying, hey, we're not going to fight them, so let's try to put some pressure. They're all kind of moving bot. I mean, you got to see that, yeah. Oh, they were backed in already. Level 20s are online. We do have rewind. Bob and weave. We're not going to see be a great button. Imperius trying to do a flank. Actually, then we have the Uriel. We do have the stun on the Varian, but we didn't have Aegis used. Maybe a little bit early. Cocoon comes out. Muradin actually jumps into the zombie wall, getting pulled by the Anduin. Tyke is in a little bit of a rough spot trying to go in. We do have the shield from the Urel. Actually, Bob and Weave. So, oh, we do have light bomb being spread. And Imperius does go down. Tychus goes down. And now with a 3-2, Urel going top lane to change that top shrine, and then probably go mid to get that dragon. And now we are getting to a point where potentially can end the match. We did have viral infection, just 5 away from completion, right? But it might be a little bit too little, too late. The whip on the Kalthos. We do have flamethrower go out. We still have about 20 seconds on 2 members of the side of. Uh-oh, that light bomb. Oh, that light bomb does so much damage. Not light bomb, living flame. And they're trying to focus that Greymane and gets cocoon, but we do have 1 away from completing Vow Infection. The dragon now focusing the keep, and it might be a little too late. And with that, it looks like game number 4 in the series goes to Protectors of Aiur. GG. All right. See if we can get a member of Protectors of Aiur. In the meantime, again, very much kind of lopsided matches across the board. We now see again a 10-1 advantage of the Protectors, and both teams very much with game 1, game 2, now game 3 and 4. Teams done a good job of just imposing kind of their draft and their strategy. See if we can update our information. Take a look at some of the damage. Greymane leading the way with 66,000 healing, relatively close. Obviously, the numbers were a little bit higher than last time, especially game 2. The long match was a lot longer. As far as this goes, Naz was at 174 stacks. Obviously, a little bit too little, too late. But we all know that once Naz comes online, it starts hurting quite a bit. So let's see if someone joins me for an interview.
Oh, I'm already here. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. I didn't hear you hop in. And so let me.
Yeah, you got the alerts turned off for streaming.
There you go. That makes sense. And so we have Eclectic. So how you feeling?
Pretty good. Pretty hyped. Start the playoffs, right? You know what I mean? Get the ball rolling here.
Yeah, and so I know Protectors of Aiur have been a team for a while now, right? Just a little bit of details, like this pretty much has been the same team for a while. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I think that our first season was 9, and me and Scoops and Ryan were all on that team, and Redbeard, he's still a sub of ours. So we were all part of the original team. We've traded some people around, but even this roster, like this is the exact same roster as last season. We've had, and like Sound and Arch have been with us for a few seasons, so like we got a pretty steady team here.
Yeah, because I know I've seen it, and so I know you've been kind of between C and B and such, and so obviously, how are you feeling kind of now? Actually, we'll walk through a couple of the matches, and we'll talk about maybe the next matches you're having through. But First of all, congrats. Obviously, kind of the theme of this particular series was taking turns taking each other's heroes away, right? And so, is that very much was the kind of the strategy that you kind of were thinking about? Is like, hey, we don't want to ban this. We can play this. We're just going to take it away. And so, was that kind of the thought process towards your draft and in this matchup against Ground Up?
Yeah, absolutely. They were our last regular season game, so we just scouted them. They just scouted us. I think that we had some real good drafts, some real good turnarounds. They did some real good drafting. I think we got a lot of what we wanted, so I think there was a lot of mind games in those drafts.
Yeah, and so as we go to the first game, and I think in the last series, we kind of was both of you selected, right? But this particular series, Ground Up kind of pretty much, except the last match, right, selected the particular map. So is that kind of just saying that you were kind of comfortable going with whatever map, and you had a preference for having first pick?
Yeah, I think that we felt like first pick was strong, especially the tank choke that was going on and the tank overlaps that happened. So there was a lot of that was like heavily played into first pick being really strong for us. I don't know. I guess they wanted maps because they, prefer certain battlegrounds. So like they went for that. I also don't know if first pick would have been as strong for them. I think that it favored us a little bit because of a little bit of the minutia with like Mert and Joe Hana kind of thing.
Sorry, getting into the spin to win cycle. I was muted for a second. I think maybe the stream didn't hear me, but they were able to get into the spin to win cycle for the Infernal Shrines, and very much able to kind of use that to secure a couple of that. Kind of in general for a lot of the matches, I think you've done a really good job of your macro. You're able to get value, always kind of pushing structures. If that's something you kind of always kind of work as a team or etc.
I mean, we spend a lot of time talking about macro. I think that like we started in D and we had like really bad macro, so we've come a really long way with our macro, and I think we win a lot of games that way. And I think that we also are fairly good at identifying pretty early. Like these guys are going to win fights. We're going to win macro. You got to like know when it's time to, like, oh, these guys are winning macro. We have to go win fights. So like I think we're pretty good at picking out which one of these things we're trying to do.
Yeah, and so again, that was kind of a consistent theme throughout the different matches. So game one, you were able to get that secure win. Then we go to game two, and it kind of flipped, right? And so at least in the early part of the series, it looks like it was going to go back and forth, and we did kind of see that kind of back and forth when it comes to we'll take the hero, right? We'll take Tychus. This is actually the first match. The Tychus last. Whoever had Tychus is pretty much the winner of the match, or throughout the series, except the last match of this particular match. But moving on to game three, you pulled out a hammer. And so was this something you were kind of thinking about, hey, if we go to towers, we're going to be going through with this or is it just something that evolved throughout the draft?
That just kind of came up in the draft. It had to do with, so game two, they had that taunt.
Variant, yeah.
Tongue, like super stun chain. So we were like, they got the variant, and we like had to play back a little bit. So like having whip and hammer push meant we got to kind of play the fight at our pace. So that was kind of the hammer thought.
Yeah, and that's kind of I mentioned before, is that variant's going to have a really hard time getting in there. And if there's anything going to be done, it's going to have to be front to back. But obviously, I think as well, both healers did a great job with healing and playing Ariel. But yeah, shout out to Sergeant Scoops. Got some very good ages out to prevent a few kills there in towers. But it seemed like, yeah, very much you were able to kind of just take that bottom fort and just never look back. And so now moving on to game number 4, you selected this map, and this was the first map you selected. So is that because you very much say, hey, do you know the history of kind of like the map theories when it comes to like Pro and HCC, as far as like Dragonshire?
I mean, I watched a bunch of the
Yeah.
HGC back in the day.
Yeah.
But
So usually the thought would be is if you think you're a better team, you take them to Dragonshire because of the complexity of the map. So you usually that's what would be said is if you think you're a better team, you take them to Dragonshire. And so obviously that so going back to you selecting this map, do you feel this is a very good map for yourself, just given kind of the compositions you're able to play on this particular map?
yeah, it also, like you're saying, like it gives it a lot of like, there's a lot of different strats you can like pivot to really easily. So it's like, oh, they're beating us bot lane, like get the camp out, or like let's make a rotation and get a gank, like that kind of stuff. Like you're talking about, like hold the delta versus like just rotate safe, and being able to like change on the fly is strong on that map. So like I think that's why we do well with it.
Yeah, and something that I would say, kind of following up on your discussion of either pushing or gaining value or stepping back, you did a very good job that on this particular match with Dragonshire. But going back to game number 2 with Cursed, I think there was a period where you had 2 of the curses, right? And they were about to be 20, and there was a kind of a backing off them. You don't have to, obviously disperse all your secrets or anything, but what was the kind of the thought process versus kind of delaying, potentially trying to get that the last of the curses, right, to the tributes to get the curse in game number 2? Was that kind of the same process where we're just going to back off and see if we can get to 20 before we have to actually fight?
Yeah, we thought we could catch up to them, and we also didn't think that the boss spawn was kind of unfortunate for us.
Yeah.
So, like the lanes were all pushed, so like we were getting more soaked than they were, and we just thought we were gonna catch up, and we just didn't quite do it. Like we needed that fight, but we were like 2 minions shy of 20.
Yeah.
And then with the boss breathing down our neck, like it was like win the fight and get the trib, get something with the curse, or go clear the boss, and we just didn't pick one, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think actually it was also because of a very good play by Ground Up. I think they recognized what maybe you were trying to do, and they didn't cap, right? And so there was like about 2 minutes of we're just watching both teams look at each other, right, from across the different, the bushes. But obviously that same patience did actually help you when it came to game number 4 and on Dragonshire, where we didn't get a dragon, right? The first dragon was until kind of level 15 or something already. And so that same patience kind of paid through then. But either way, you were able to kind of make use of the macro. You got some good picks. And then with that, able to march to core and secure your quarterfinals victory. And so moving forward, I think we already have one result, right? I think there was another match, right, that ended just earlier before you. I don't know if it's been updated.
I didn't see it.
I think it hasn't been updated just yet. Maybe I'll pull up the brackets here. But based on what's left, is there any teams you're looking forward to potentially playing or not?
Yeah. There's so many good teams here. I don't know who won and who didn't, but Start Slow and Taper Off are a bunch of old buddies of ours, so they're really fun to play with. Brain Cell Mites, we scrimmed a bunch. They're really fun. The Phoenix Equipe is like on top of their game. They're like the one to beat, so I'm excited to play them. So there's a lot of Hot Stads. Hot Stads they're always fun to play. They're just like so brutal. I don't know.
Yeah. I know that there was one match that ended the other day, which was Brand Sailmates that won. So obviously, depending on who won earlier, that will dictate which seed.
They beat Heavy Greg.
Yeah. And so it was maybe spoilers, but
Uh-huh.
but either way, congrats. And so with that, I'll leave the floor for any shout outs or anything else you want to say to close out our stream for today.
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to all of our subs, especially Ide. He's really been picking up a lot of weight here recently, and but our other subs are always there for us. And I want to shout out our sister team, Protectors of Shakuras. I don't know if they played their first playoff game yet, but they're coming up on that. So good luck to them. And then I want to thank you for casting us and all the casters from the NGS. the casting, I think, is one of the best things of the NGS. It makes it feel so much more legitimate. So thanks to all the casters, thanks to everyone, all the staff, the volunteers for NGS. It's a wonderful league, so I am happy with everything in it.
Great. And then with that, enjoy your victory and look forward to the future matches in the coming weeks.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right,
See ya.
good luck. All right, so with that concludes our stream of this quarterfinal matchup between Ground Up and Predictors of Our, with Ground Up winning the series 3-1. Now moving on to the next level of the particular brackets, and that'll be obviously updated as we go on. We still actually have one match going on, and this is with between Magnitude Aftershock and Bork Side of the Mood in Division B West. So for those of you who are still interested in sticking around, I'll be moving you forward to that particular match. Otherwise, thank you very much for you joining me this evening, and I'll thank you for joining us. And again, I'll be seeing you next time in the Nexus. Have a good one.